love problems. I love radio. Yeah, so I started making my own problems. We all make mistakes, right?
We've all seen it.
Yeah. So there was a part that we didn't get to put into the movie, and Richard Williams knew that he was going to, 2 years before they were born, he said he was going to make the #1 and #2 tennis players of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's scary.
2 years before they were born. So what he said when Venus was born, he put a tennis racket, he put a book, and a series of other things, and she was 4 months old. And he said he put the things down in front of her, and the first 2 things she touched was a book and a tennis racket.
Wow.
And he said that he took that as a sign from God that her education and tennis was what he was going to concentrate on.
Now, hold 1 second. Now, with all due respect, I understand the things you trying to say, right? And like everything within his body has an arch forward, right? And it's because of the physical injuries that his body has. And it's my, actually, Pierce is my barber. And what Pierce suggested, I don't know if you remember today, and it clicked. He said, think of it as a shopping cart, right? And Richard Williams, I was like, yes, that idea, how he walks is like he's pushing a shopping cart, right? Right, so what happened is, as an actor, you get that idea, and then what happens is, how you hold your neck, and then how you look at people's, and then how you talk and all of that. You have a new body, right? So if I was okay to be able to find a new body, this don't look nothing like Will Smith. When you look at this, none of this positioning is how Will Smith talk. This ain't how Will Smith look, and things like this is how I make y'all feel like it ain't Will Smith for a few minutes. So it's like finding things like that it can be terrifying because you don't know, like, is that going to be too much, right? So if you do it too much, then you see, that's just Will acting, right? So you have to find that spot where it's enough that it's authentic and you suspend disbelief, but if you go too far, it's like an actor overdoing it. So you have to find that right balance. So as an actor going into drama and finding those things is like terrifying, but when you hit it right, it's beautiful. One of my first cinematic experiences were Bruce Lee movies. Yeah, just seeing Bruce Lee movies was, you come out and you're kicking in the theater, and I loved how he was bigger than life, but I love how he created energy that you walked around with out in the streets, and you went home and everything, and you were acting out the sequences, and you wanted to flip, and the level of inspiration that can come from this screen. I knew that very young. I was also very attuned to energy in that way, and I knew I wanted to do that, not necessarily the acting part at the time, but the feeling that Bruce Lee was able to create. I knew I wanted to learn how to create that in hearts and minds. We're both Michael B. Jordan and I. We're using on the, you have to be a real I Am Legend buff, but in the first one, in the theatrical version, my character died. And everybody's like, well, wait a minute, how he gonna make a part 2 of his character? But on the DVD, there was an alternate version of the ending of the movie where my character lived.
Mid-credits.
Yeah. So it was like, so we're going with the mythology of the DVD version where my character lived, and I can't tell you anymore. But Michael B. Jordan is in, and we're doing it.
Can not only be popular in America,
You have to go to every country in the world. You have to meet the people. You have to see the people. If your film is only successful in America, you are not a movie star. There's a style of global storytelling that I've traveled the world, and I understand tiny little adjustments that make things global.
Yeah.
Right, to be able to take local stories and make them global. So I'm excited to travel the world and collaborate and be able to teach and build global storytelling community. I have a deep faith in the power of sharing our stories with one another, to help heal wounds, to help learn about each other. So I feel like this next phase of my life is going to be working in global collaboration to create an exchange of our stories that creates bridges. And I just don't feel like politics will necessarily create the change. So I'm putting the burden on myself and on global artists to create the change. To have somebody to call is huge. Everybody doesn't have somebody to call. And I have been blessed that I've always had somebody to call that was willing to help. Quincy Jones has probably been the most prevalent in my life. And Quincy has always made himself available. There was business things that Quincy was always available for. But more importantly, he was paying attention to my life, right? So Quincy was always, there and around when my children were born, and
so present,
yeah,
this man.
yeah.
He's got this energy.
Yeah, Quincy loves people, and that's another thing. It's like, he never forgets your birthday, and he knows when your kid graduates from high school. It's like, oh, it's Quincy, know all that stuff. But he's always been very, very present. He wants me to win as a human. He's devoted to me as a human, not just as an artist. And he's really taught me and inspired me the way that I want to be available to the next generation. You can do it by yourself, and for the most part, you have to provide the energy for it by yourself. But somebody knows the short route to where you want to go. And it's really important to find the people who know and make friends and offer your services to the people who know. It's like you're ultimately, if you're devoted to your dream, you'll ultimately make your way there. It's just a little bit easier when you have an elder who understands and is willing to spend time to teach. My career has become an exploration of myself, right? Where you get to try things and you get to experiment, and sometimes y'all like it and sometimes you don't. But it's a beautiful way of getting to know who I am and being able to craft how I want to be in the world, and it's like the characters teach me about myself, and the characters teach me about life, and they help me hone my contribution to humanity. We were in Mozambique, and we were 100 miles outside of a major city, and there was a woman washing her clothes in a river. There was no electricity for 100 miles. and she's washing her clothes for the river. And we were shooting Ali, and we were shooting a piece of a scene. And I walk by, and she doesn't even look back. She's washing, and she says, "Getting jiggy with it." It's like, what? It's like, how do you know? But no, it's a really unique. Fame is a unique monster, and you have to be really. I've had to be really careful. You can't get excited when everybody is saying good things about you, because the more you take when people are saying good things about you, the more hurt you're going to be when people are saying bad things about you, right? You know what I've experienced, you know, in my adversities of the last couple of years, is I have to be clear about who I am and what I am attempting to do in the world, and I can't need others to applaud for me to stay focused on my mission. I have always wanted to put good into the world. I have always wanted to make people smile. I've always been devoted to the process of joy and inspiration, and you know, I want you to feel good, right? I am here because in my deepest heart, I want you to feel good, you know. And at the same time, I am deeply human, and my virtue is not yet perfected, and I am in the process of perfecting my virtue. So one of the I would say the greatest thing that has happened is I have been deeply humbled and deeply inspired to perfect my light. And that's what this next phase of my life is going to be, perfecting and shining my light as brightly as I can on as many people as I can. Here's what I can tell you. What's happening in Saudi is gigantic. It's gigantic. Stay in Saudi and build your community here. I travel this world for a living. What's happening here in Saudi in terms of film and entertainment is unmatched. It's like in the next 3 to 5 years, what you'll be able to do here as a filmmaker will match every place on earth. Yes.